Hey guys, what's going on? True Danger here on the scene. I don't even know why I said here on the scene. It's been a long time. I've had a lot going on. My work schedule just recently got better. So I think I'm going to be back on it. That's the only thing that set me apart is that my work schedule has been crazy, but we managed to work out things better finally. So you should see a regular one or two videos from me on the weekend or during the week. So let's get started. Again, I apologize for not being on the videos like I normally am and doing the pattern that you guys all know me for doing. So I apologize for that. So today, first off, wearing my Strike Bag t-shirt. It says, "It takes a pair to fight terrorism." And you can see, Damian Scott, Michael Stonebridge. If you haven't seen the show, it's a BBC America show. I have the box set. It is phenomenal. Representing, showing support for the show, and also showing support for the troops, because the show is based upon, one British soldier and one Delta Force guy that no matter what they get themselves into, they always fight for what is right. They put their lives on the line to stop terrorism at all costs. And it's these two guys, and they are skilled as skilled can get. And they don't let things corrupt them, when they're out there defending and helping people. And I think that it's something really to be admired. Now, the show is very graphic, very bloody, but I highly recommend it. And that's why I wear these shirts, because I'm very passionate about film and about TV series. But also, the content's so bad, nowadays for TV shows and stuff. So I also promote that. Hey, check out this show. Check out this movie so you could watch something that gives you substance, something that gives you something to think about, something you can learn from, something that you just don't get entertained from. That's the kind of stuff I like watching. I like taking and picking it apart and getting into what it all means. And we're going to be doing that more often as well. So anyway, without further ado, let's get into the topic today. Today is kind of a hard topic. It's something that I struggle with, and a lot of people that I'm very close to struggle with. And I wanted to talk about it. Now, if you guys saw me on Big Herc 916, you guys are familiar with the last video I did. I did talk about PTSD. And I talked about a little bit about my law enforcement experience that I had. So I'm going to be talking about that and in depth a little bit more, okay? And I'm going to get into that and talking about PTSD. So let's get into it, guys. So, before I do it, I want to give a shout out to my good friends Claudia and Caesar. Hope you guys are doing great. Lots of love to you and your family. And I know you guys are destined to do big things, and everything's going to work out for you guys. And thank you for coming to check out the channel. And thank you for being just awesome people. So this is a special one for you guys, my good friends Caesar and Claudia. So here we go. Don't want to forget that. So I'm going to share a story with you guys, a couple stories. Well, maybe one and actually two. Sorry. I'm going to be talking about. Okay. First off, I want to say anybody that struggles with any post-traumatic stress syndrome, especially at a very high level where it starts to do things to you, that's what we're going to be talking about. Because people say, I've got PTSD, and they're panicking. Yes, that could be one level, but I don't think they talk about the dark side level of PTSD, which is something I experienced and other brothers of mine have experienced. And we're going to be getting into that and how important it is. But before we touch on that, there's a little thing I want to talk about called why I got involved with law enforcement. Now, originally, I was about 21 years old. I was in my early 20s. My father had passed away. Things were changing. I really had to go find myself. So I was kind of at a loss, at the time. I didn't quite know how to take everything in. Things were moving kind of quick. But hey, that's life. Sometimes happen, and it happens, and I knew that as well. And sometimes we have to move and we have to adjust. So from that, I went into the law enforcement world. I had an entry-level job. I did court security for San Bernardino County is what happened. Okay, so I worked there, young man, wet behind the ears, as they call it. I didn't know what I was getting into, but I saw stuff that would last you a lifetime when I was there. And I didn't really know how to take it all in, but I got adjusted and I moved from several different courthouses and things like that. And then there was the time where it went from that to I started doing private investigations. So I started working with a private investigator I had gotten to know. Very neat guy. One of the best, let me change that. One of the best individuals I've ever known in my life. One of the most incredible men I've ever known in my life. One of the most honorable men I've ever known in my life. And to this day, I would take not one, but 5 bullets for him. Okay? Because that's how much he means to me. And I love him, and I thank him for taking this young kid and teaching him things about life and the game of private investigation. So I just want to give a shout out on that one. So when I started doing that, my whole world changed. Like you're learning all about court system because we're in court a lot. We're handling things. And now let me tell you guys, this was not investigations like, oh, my wife's cheating on me. Come check it out. Yes, that stuff happens. People do it. Or they do a lot of court dates and they investigate people that have charges, pro per cases, things like that. Yes. And I did do some pro per cases. That's very true. But the thing about it is our thing at our investigation team was the more dangerous it was, the more my partner really wanted to look at it. And I got to admit, it made it fun. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say like, oh my gosh, I was scared, there were some scary moments and stuff, but for the most part, you knew what you were riding into, and you knew like if you were really going to get down and do some justice and really help people out, you couldn't just do my wife's cheating cases. You couldn't just do pro per cases, basic stuff. You had to really go out there and handle the heavy cases, homicides, child molestation cases that not so much like, oh, I'm going to make a lot of money. It was more like, no, we really want to help people, because the truth was we didn't make a lot of money. That's the truth. We would much rather be men of honor and code and justice than to make a ton of money. And that's the reality. And that's how I always conducted myself, and that's how my partner conducted himself. So anyway, while we were doing investigations, you kind of ask yourself, because people ask me this all the time, why did you do that? And, especially in a time right now where law enforcement may not be smiled upon, military may not be smiled upon, civil service to some level may not be smiled upon. Let's just get real. It's not very smiled upon, which means I'm saying people don't really like or support it. Not everyone. There's definitely some supporters and backers, but there's just not a lot of people. So this is kind of like a little talk about how I feel about that. And my answer to that is, especially because I gave 5 years, just about 5 years of the court at the first job. And then when I did private investigations, about 5 years out. So you're looking about 10 years. Okay. So this is what I have to say is it's a slap in the face for people to kind of downplay us, especially people like myself and my partners and the guys that I associate with. Now, guys that, killed George Floyd, people like that, okay, I get it and I understand it. And that stuff is not right. Okay. I'm not going to say I, as being involved in the law enforcement world, I'm not going to condone people's bad behavior. So let me get that out of the way. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm not going to condone it. But at the same time, for those good law enforcement agents that have done what is right, that do defend the weak, that do defend the helpless, that do answer the call when people need help, and they're upstanding people and they're involved in the communities, I'm going to say, hey, that's what I'm talking about. Those are the guys that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the crooked guys. We all know the crooked is just crooked. Okay, no matter what type of job you're doing, if you're doing things, especially when you're in a position where you can hurt people, hey, it's not cool. That's not why police officers put on the badge. That's not why people give their lives for military service and war and conflicts and things like that. That's not why. You go beyond reaching something much higher than yourself and to serve people and to bring a code and respect back, and to connect with the community and to get crime and grime off the streets, no matter where it's coming from, whether it fits in the mayor's office, whether it fits in some street corner. Okay, that's what you're all about, and that's what you're supposed to be, and that's what you're supposed to deliver. So that's what I'm representing. Okay, that's what I'm representing here today. So, let's get into it. So, the reason why I joined was because of one giant answer and reason. The main reason why I did was because I truly believe by the time I got to investigations, this was very clear to me. I saw a lot of things behind closed doors, and I saw how people really conducted themselves, and I was not happy, okay? And I wanted to bring justice to the people. I saw how certain departments chose to handle themselves. And I'm not talking about criminal street level stuff, guys. You know what I mean. I was not impressed by them. I was not impressed that we put these people in charge to deliver justice, to uphold the law, to protect the innocent, to serve the public trust, as RoboCop would say. And I was really, what's the word? I was just destroyed to see how some people conducted themselves. Okay? I was really destroyed to see that. And so I took it upon myself to do private investigations where I could start investigating some of that stuff and maybe bring some justice to the ground, to the people. Start changing things, because that's the thing. People talk all this stuff. They talk and they say, yeah, I'm this guy, I'm this type of person. And at the end of the day, they get paid off, or, they don't really want to do it, or it's just too much, it's too dangerous. I'm just talking to get some votes. You guys know the game. You know the score. Come on. You guys know. So I didn't want to be that. I really wanted to go in and bring justice to people. I really wanted to go in and work hard and change the game. But unfortunately, the reality that I found, like I shared on Big Herc Show, was no matter how much you try to change the game, and no matter how much you try to make things better in the world in that way, the bad guys always win. Because here's the thing, and this is coming from me, and I know, because I did it. Let me tell you something. The people that really hold the power, okay? The people that really hold the power are the ones that get to decide where and what and how things go. I could bring in every piece of evidence on a case and show that this is what happened. But what I found out was that if they don't want that to really be seen, they got ways to work little games to make things disappear. Or you get your story out, but they kind of have ways to make it not as well known or not as big of a thing. Trust me, guys, I've been there. They can do these things. And that's the crappy part about it is, then justice is not fully received, it's hidden. And that's the most difficult part. And I wanted to share that through my journey of doing that stuff was that I always upheld, um, integrity. And I always wanted to be the guy that did what was right. And it still bothers me to this day that we could not and were not allowed to properly do that. Now we had some big cases and we cracked some cases and we won. I mean, it was widely known. That was very, very known. That's on court record. Yes, we did. We definitely did. And we won. But the thing was, how much did we win? Because the departments, they were not stopped. Even though we exposed certain things, the departments were not stopped. They said, oh, wow, it's out there. People saw, people knew. But at the end of the day, those guys in power still were carrying on with their business. And that was the hardest thing to swallow. That was the hardest pill to take, was that these guys were still going to be doing their business. That was the worst part. So let me get down to a story. Let me talk about PTSD. PTSD is hard. It really messes with your life in more ways than you guys can ever imagine that do not understand what I'm talking about. It messes with your sleep. It messes with your psyche. It really just works a number over your whole body, and it makes you very uneven and very sometimes on edge. So I had to go into therapy for it, and I'm doing good, and thankful for that. And I'm in control of what's going on, which is really good because I know some people, they haven't found that control yet, or they're still working on it, and it's a very difficult thing to get under control. So I'm not saying, hey, I went to therapy and boom. It's like, no, it was a journey. It was a journey of a couple things. And I want to share this story, guys. This is how I found out that I had it. I actually was working a trafficking case where young girls were being, were into exotic dancing. I mean, they were, adult age, but it's still, it's some messed up stuff. And then they were getting pulled into possible trafficking, sex trafficking. So my partner and I were looking for a couple of those girls. And in this case, it was one young lady we were looking for. Parents hired us to track her down, and we were not able to find her. And it really messed me up because I really wanted to find this girl, and I knew her chances of being alive in the future were very short. And, because that's how that business kind of works. And I remember I was, my wife and I had gone to see a movie. It was a Hugh Jackman and Terrence Howard movie. And give me a second, guys. I'm going to see if I can find out what it was called. Okay? Just hang 10. Okay, because I keep talking about this and I can never remember the name of the movie. And let me see. Okay. Prisoners, 2013. And Jake Gyllenhaal was in it. Okay, so I got to remember that. Prisoners. And there's a scene, Hugh Jackman's daughter was taken and Terrence Howard's daughter was taken. Terrence Howard gets his daughter back. Hugh Jackman has to go a little bit more through a journey to find his. And they did it in such a way where you didn't know who exactly was doing it. And so it looked like they had one guy that may have been the murderer slash kidnapper. Trying to remember what exactly happened. And I remember that there was a scene, Jake Gyllenhaal plays the head detective on the case, and it looks like he's getting ready to crack it, and they find out that guy is not the guy. And he's in his office, and he's kicking over his stuff, and he's upset because he knows that the window for this little girl is not very big, that she will be probably not alive in so much time. And I was connecting with his feelings when I was watching this movie, and I really understood his pain because I was going through that, except the girl was a little bit older, but still the situation was just as messed up. And I remember I was sitting in the theater, and I had never felt this way. I felt really strange. And like I was another person, another place, another time. And in the front row, there were about 3 or 4 young people, and they were laughing hysterically. Now, they could have been laughing at something on their phones. They could have been laughing at the movie. I don't know. But they were laughing, and it really bothered me. And I remember I was watching them, and I was getting so angry. And I remember I stood up in the theater. I was standing up, and I looked at these people. And I was not myself. And I was getting ready to reach over and take these people apart. I was going to let them have it. Who knows how far? But I was not myself. And I remember my wife was sitting there, and she kind of looked at me, and she was like, "Are you? What's going on?" You know, she kind of had that thing going. And I remember I clicked back in, and I was myself. And I went to sit down, but I didn't. I got up, and I immediately went to the bathroom. And I was standing there panicking, sweating, losing my mind in the bathroom because I was getting ready to hurt some people. I was really going to do it. And I had no control over what was happening, you see. And it really just destroyed me to know that those thoughts were inside of me. And that's when I went into treatment, and that's when I found out I had PTSD. And it was an extreme form because when your mind is taken over and you're going to do something you would never do, but in those moments you can't stop yourself, that's some scary stuff. Because I really could have hurt somebody. I really could have done something. I really could have done some damage. So I just wanted to share with you guys a little story about myself and talk about we need to get awareness for PTSD. We need to get people treated. We need to get people help. We need to show family support. We need to stand by people. And we really need to push this home. We really need to push this home deeply. And another thing I wanted to share with you guys was this. This is a subpoena with my name on it. Let me see. Where's my name? Boom. True guess. Boom. This is very important. This is what saved. I'd say this. I have it framed up on my wall in a way of saying that I survived. That was the time I should have been killed. And there's another time, but we'll get into that story later. But real quick, I only got a few minutes. Pretty much, I was involved in a scandal with a mayor of a town where they had set him up in a crazy situation. And I talked about it on Big Herc. And the thing about it was that I didn't share was that when I was given a subpoena to testify, no one else was willing to come forward on behalf of the mayor because I was there when I heard the corrupt law enforcement talking about how they set up the mayor and what was going on. And I was willing to testify. Nobody else was willing to testify, not because of this or fame and glory, because it was the right thing to do. So the morning I was going out to the courthouse to testify with the grand jury, by the way, against the police department and against what they did, I knew that some of those guys obviously were going to be there. And that day, I knew that I was not going to walk out or make it, or maybe I would have made it to my car, but I was not leaving the parking lot. My partner and I were getting things ready just in case, because we knew there was going to be some problems. And that morning, before I headed out, they called me and they said, the lawyer called me and said, look, you don't have to come because the mayor took a deal and we're not going to have you testify because it's done. He took the deal. There's no need. And that was God's message to me saying, hey, I'm giving you a chance, because if I went down there, it probably wouldn't have played out very nice. But I was willing to go down there because here's the thing. This is why I joined and got involved in the things that I did, was because it takes a big person to stand for something greater than themselves. And at that moment, at that time, I felt like I needed to be that person. If I'm a fan of Captain America and Superman and all these heroes that I love, Batman, Luke Skywalker, if I am a fan, Strike Back, if I'm a fan of these guys, what's the point? What's the purpose if I don't take in the message they're trying to teach us? Which is to be brave and to go forward, even at the cost of your own life, to deliver the strengths and the freedoms that are important to show to the world, to let them know this is how we stand as Americans and as good people. We do what is right. I don't know if that made sense to you guys, but it makes sense to me, to go out there and fight it, even at the cost of my own life. I would much rather do that and have my son know that my father did what was right than my father was a coward. And I don't mean coward like running from a fight. I mean like coward like you know that you could change something, but you refuse to. And guys, in closing, I just want to say a quote, which is, the true evil that exists in the world is when good men refuse to do nothing. Okay? True saying. And I did not refuse. I answered the call. And I was willing to put my life on the line to do what is right. So I tell you guys, do what is right in your life. Stand up for what you believe. And go out there and make a change. The change starts with you. Okay? Because even though things happen, people know out there, back home, what happened with me and what I did. And I didn't have to do all that. So, anyway, guys, have a good week. God bless you guys, and take care, okay? Be awesome. True Danger out.